Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
All right, we're back on the show. Make sure to follow us, or rather like us, on Facebook, facebook.com/David Pakman Show. A lot of stuff that goes on with the show is happening only on Facebook. I don't know why. I don't even understand it, to be honest, but I'm told there's just stuff that is only on Facebook, and that's the story I'm sticking to, I guess.
I'll have to take your word for it. I don't know about any of this.
It's not clear who does know. That's the bad part. I went to a Boston Celtics game over the weekend. I hadn't actually been for probably, I don't know, I guess since last season. And every time I go, it's amazing how much everything now has a sponsor, right? I mean, when we had Dave, maybe I was more aware of it because we had Dave Zirin on a couple of weeks ago, the sports writer, subject of the documentary film, about just kind of like the no-holds-barred corporatism and pro-military stuff that just you can't get out of sports. It's just connected with sports inevitably. It's just unbelievable. I mean, literally, during each timeout, there's some kind of contest on the court that has a sponsor, and every time it's a different sponsor. There was a tire company that was a sponsor, so the contest is you have to jump through tires military style and then shoot a basketball. It's all because of the sponsor.
Right.
There's nothing that says that is a great contest for a basketball game. They're the dancers. I guess they're not cheerleaders now. They're just dancers. They are sponsored by an adult beverage company. The scoreboard is sponsored. The player of the game has a sponsor. The program you're handed when you come in, that has a sponsor. Each giveaway has a sponsor. They come out and throw T-shirts into the crowd. That's sponsored. Even the ticket itself. Maybe you don't even make it to the game, or maybe you buy the ticket for someone else. You still are exposed to it because the back of the ticket has one sponsor and then also a 15% discount if you bring the ticket to a certain place within a week. Mm-hmm. It's amazing what's going on. Certain seating areas have a certain corporate name.
Right.
You might be in the Lewis's Crab Shack zone behind the basket or whatever.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you don't know, or our listeners can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember hearing that the new Yankee Stadium, every single seat, each individual seat has a sponsor.
I don't know about that. I didn't hear that.
I think I remember hearing something like that. I could be wrong.
It's definitely...
It wouldn't surprise me.
Correct. You tell me if you don't agree. It's definitely the most pervasive advertising, I don't even know what to call it, atmosphere that I can really think of, right? I mean, even something like, I don't know, some people say on an airplane everything is sponsored. There's the companies that give you the peanuts, and then the airphone is one company, and then the magazine has what. But it's nothing. I can't even, what else would be comparable? A movie maybe. Before the movie, the theater runs ads. There's ads everywhere. There's product placement.
But during a game, you're seeing it everywhere constantly.
Constantly. That's right.
And I have to agree with you. I've been to a good amount of sporting events. Basketball's got to be the worst in terms of the advertisement and the sponsorship.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's many more opportunities to put stuff in.
Well, I guess you've got NASCAR, too, in which the car is just plastered with sponsors.
Yeah, that one I'm not too familiar with. But you're probably right. I mean, compared to at least going to Red Sox games, there's stuff everywhere visually, but you're not constantly being bombarded with segments and prizes brought to you by this or that. Mm-hmm. I actually am I ended up sitting, the seats weren't bad. They were center court, but up in the upper level.
Mm-hmm. The nosebleeds?
It wasn't that bad. But when I found, my girlfriend bought the tickets and she told me what they cost, and I was like, oh, those must be pretty good seats, because at face value, that gets you really good seats. And then I was like, where'd you get them from, by the way? And it wasn't the Boston Celtics. So inadvertently, she got them from one of these resellers. And I'm like, oh, because, if you actually buy them, it wasn't even a sold-out game at the time. If you buy them from the venue, you actually get more for the money. So unfortunately, I had a grandfather, literally fall and roll like from the row behind me. The guy was it's so tight. You have to kind of shuffle in sideways. You've got popcorn, you've got 3 hot dogs, and then like a 64-ounce soda. You have to have a huge soda apparently at these games. The guy literally just tripped and rolled from the row behind me down to 2 rows in front of me. Some guys eventually caught him, and he just stood up and just walked away. He made it out unscathed.
He rolled down the stairs or over the people sitting?
He rolled over rows and the people sitting, yeah.
Wow.
It's bizarre. And the seats are so close together, there's not even actually room to hit the ground.
And it's steep, too.
It's very steep.
Those are,
It is very steep. And on the way out, I had like a typical... The T in Boston, the equivalent of the subway or whatever it is in your city, It's notorious for just being completely packed after sporting events, as I'm sure it is in a lot of parts of the country. It was so packed that I was sure I was the last person getting on, right? I mean, I literally was the guy had to force the door closed over me. And as he was doing that, an older woman runs up. And the guy opens it up and she gets on. I have no idea how she even made it on. I could not move. And she looks at me and she says, yeah, God forbid you move. And I just looked at her and said, I can't move. Where do you want me to go? She said, believe me, you could move. Typical experience where they just figured cram somebody on. It wasn't as bad as in, I think where is it, in Tokyo, where they actually push people on with like shields, almost like a police shield. They just cram people in to get the doors shut. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I could still breathe.
It can get pretty bad, though.
It was bad enough.
I've been there. I mean, you don't have to hold on to anything either because you're just wedged between people.
I had nothing to hold on to, yeah. Once the train got moving, I kind of rolled, and I was just kind of like rolling around in the little, you know how there's 2 steps to get out? I just kind of fell on the floor and eventually was rolled out of the train. Good experience, though. It's fun.
Yeah.
It was also snowing, so really great experience. Let's talk about the team back there really loving this story.